Hello everyone, I welcome you all in the third lecture of PSC beam or girder design. This was our problem statement and we are supposed to design a post-tension pre-stressed concrete I section. So far we have completed two steps. Let's have overlook over to the steps which we have completed so far. Our step 1 was general design requirements and considerations, and we have calculated the values of FCI and FC2 as per the IS 1343/2012. Second step was design of the section, where we have considered or calculated the moment due to live load depending upon the live load intensity which was given into the question. We assumed various dimensions of the section. Then at the end, after finding the area from formula stress is equal to force per unit area, we have calculated or selected the section dimension depending upon the general guidelines, and for that you can go through the previous lectures of part 1 and part 2, in which step 1 and step 2 for the numerical is being covered. In this way we have idealized or finalized our dimensions for the section and calculated the total moment MT. This was our step 2, where we have calculated initial pre-stressing force assuming 15% of loss. You can go through previous two videos so that your problem will get cleared. Now we will start with the step number 3. Now our step number 3 is check for provided area. Our step number 3 is check for the provided area, and this check is to be provided at initial stage, that is pre-stressed plus dead load, and second, this check is to be provided at final stage, that is pre-stress plus dead load plus live load. At these two stages we are supposed to provide the check for area. Now let's start at initial stage. At initial stage, this is the idealized resultant stress diagram. Value of FCI or FC1 we have calculated 7.067 Newton per mm square. This value of FCI or FC1 say we have calculated in the previous steps. You can go through. Now say this is the neutral axis, then distance from bottom fiber will be YB, from top extreme fiber will be YT, and YB and YT we have calculated in previous steps, and values were 432.35 mm and 397.6 mm. Now we are supposed to calculate FNA, that is stress at the neutral axis, and by similarity of triangles we can calculate 17.067 divided by 830, where 830 is nothing but overall depth of the section, is equal to stress here will be FNA, hence stress at neutral axis divided by YT. Hope that you all might be knowing similarity of triangles equation. Hence FNA will be 8.89 Newton per mm square. Hence FNA we have calculated 8.89 Newton per mm square. Now gross area required will be force per unit stress, that is nothing but FNA, since we are knowing that stress is nothing but force per unit area. Now here we are supposed to find area, hence gross area required will be force per unit stress. We will cross multiply here. Now initial pre-stressing force we have identified in the step number 2 as 1248.71 into 10 raised to 3 Newton, and force at neutral axis FNA we have determined as 8.89. Therefore AG required is 14.045 into 10 raised to 3 mm square. Now here AG required is less than AG provided, that is AG required is 14.045 into 10 raised to 3 mm square, and AG provided is 21.44 221.440 mm square, that is nothing but 214.4 mm square into 10 raised to 3. This is our AG provided, hence safe. Now we are supposed to calculate the gross area for final stage. Now at final stage, that is pre-stress plus dead load plus live load, and idealized stress diagram or resultant stress diagram for final stress will be FC2, that we have calculated as 18.5 Newton per mm square. This is the overall depth of the section, say 830 mm. This is the force at neutral axis for final stress diagram. Distance above the neutral axis up to top extreme fiber will be YT, and distance from neutral axis up to bottom extreme fiber will be YB, and that we have calculated as 397.64 mm is YB and YT is 432.35 mm. Hence again, by similarity of triangles, 18.5 divided by 830 is equal to FNA divided by YB, that is nothing but 397.64. hence we get FNA is equal to 8.86 Newton per mm square. Now we can calculate AG required is equal to force per unit stress, that is nothing but FNA. Now here, as we are considering the final stage, hence here we are supposed to use P0 instead of PI. Since final stage, then P0 is 1061.41 kilonewton. Substitute the values 1061.41 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. We are converting kilonewton to Newton, and FNA is nothing but 8.86. Hence AG required will be 110.14 into 10 raised to 3 mm square, which is less than AG provided. Now AG provided is nothing but 214.4 into 10 raised to 3 mm square, and AG required is 110.14 into 10 raised to 3 mm square. Hence we are satisfying the criteria. Hence our section is safe. In this way, this was the step number 3, and we have provided check for the provided area at initial and at final stage. Now we'll move towards step number 4. And step number 4 is nothing but eccentricity calculations. Step number 4 is nothing but eccentricity calculations. Now prior moving towards step number 4, eccentricity calculations, I would like to explain some theory. And this theory you are not supposed to write down in the exam. This theory is important from the design point of view because some terminologies are there that you should be known with so as to solve or design the beam during eccentricity calculations. Now what actually that point is, let us see. Now this is the theory that I am explaining here. You are not supposed to write it during designing the numerical. Eccentricity is responsible for development of the bending stresses. Eccentricity is nothing but the distance from the neutral axis where cable is placed depending upon the nature of loading. That is, cable may be parabolic or triangular or concentric or purely eccentric. If eccentricity is more than the limit, then there is possibility of development of bending stresses at the top at initial stage. If eccentricity provided is more than the limiting value, then bending stresses at the top will get introduced. If eccentricity is less than the limit, then there is possibility of development of bending stresses at the bottom. That if eccentricity is provided less than the limiting value, then bending stresses at the bottom will be produced. Hence keep in mind, if eccentricity is more than the limit, stresses will be produced at top, and if eccentricity is less than the limiting value, then stresses will be produced at bottom. Maximum distance within which cable can be placed is called as Kern distance. Maximum distance within which cable can be placed is called as Kern distance. In this figure, you will come to know what actually Kern distance is. If this is our beam, this is our cable profile or say neutral axis, this is our neutral axis. Here KB and KT are the Kern distance. That is Kern distance from the neutral axis up to top, and on downward side KB is nothing but Kern distance at bottom. Here you can see this E is nothing but eccentricity line. KB is bottom Kern distance, KT is top Kern distance. KB is responsible for development of bending stresses at top, whereas KT is responsible for development of bending stresses at bottom. And this will be due to pre-stress plus dead load plus live load. KB is responsible for development of bending stresses at top due to dead load plus pre-stress, that is at initial stage. And KT is responsible for development of bending stresses at bottom due to pre-stress plus dead load plus live load, that is nothing but final stage. In short, these two terminologies you are supposed to get, that is KB and KT, bottom and top Kern distance. Now let us move towards the step number 4 calculation. Now we will be calculating the eccentricity EI, and that we can calculate from the formula mg by pi plus kb. EI is equal to mg by pi plus kb. Now get clear that why we are using mg and kb. Now is in theoretical explanation we have seen kb is responsible for development of the stresses at initial stage, and these stresses are developed at top of the section, nothing but bending stresses. Hence A eccentricity at initial stage, eccentricity at initial stage, and this is the formula EI is equal to mg by pi plus k into b. Now here Kern distance kb is nothing but r square by yt, and r you are knowing that it is I by a. From radius of gyration equation you can come to know this. Kb is nothing but r square by yt. Now we are supposed to calculate all these values. I is nothing but Ixx, Ixx1 plus Ixx2 plus Ixx3. And again you might be knowing that Ixx1 can be calculated from formula bd cube by 12 plus a1h1 square. And similarly Ixx2 can be calculated by bd cube by 12 plus a2h2 square. Ixx3 can be calculated by bd cube by 12 plus a3h3 square. Hence we are supposed to calculate H1, H2 and H3, and this can be calculated by YB minus Y1, YB minus Y2, YB minus Y3. H is nothing but distance from the neutral axis up to the CG of considered component or section. Say top flange, wave, and third will be the bottom flange. Hence YB is 397.64 minus 755. This will be getting 357.36 mm. Don't get worried about this negative sign, as here H is nothing but square value, hence this minus sign will get nullified. H2 will be 397.64 minus 490, this is minus 92.39, and H3 is 397.64 minus 150, and the H3 we get as 247.64 mm. Hence, substituting all the values in this equation, Ixx1, we will get Ixx is equal to Ixx1 plus Ixx2 plus Ixx3, that is BD cube by 12 plus A1 H1 square, BD cube by 12 plus A2 H2 square, BD cube by 12 plus A3 H3 square. Now A1 is nothing but area of top flange, A2 is nothing but area of wave, A3 is nothing but area of bottom flange. Similarly H1, H2, H3 of respective components, and of the same respective components you are supposed to substitute the values of B and E. B is nothing but width and D is nothing but depth. Hence by substituting all these values we get Ixx as 627 1.627 into 10 raised to 10 mm raised to 4. Hence we can calculate R is nothing but I by A, that is under root of 1.627 into 10 raised to 10 divided by area that we have considered by assumptions, or section that we have finalized, that is nothing but 214.4 into 10 raised to 3 mm square. Hence we get R as 275.47 mm. Now substitute this R in equation of current distance for bottom, that is bottom current distance. Formula is R square by YT, that is 275.47 square divided by YT, and YT here we have calculated as 432.35 mm. Therefore KB will be 175.50 mm. Therefore KB will be 175.51 mm. Hence KB is nothing but bottom current distance, and KB is responsible for development of bending stresses at top. Now let us calculate eccentricity EI, and formula at initial stage we have seen mg by pi plus kb. Mg is nothing but moment due to dead load at initial stage, pi is initial pre-stressing force induced, and kb is bottom current distance, which is to be utilized during calculation of eccentricity at initial stage. Now mg we have calculated, you can go through the values. Hope that you are noting. 150.75 into 10 raised to 6. Pi we have calculated initial pre-stressing force as 48.71 into 10 raised to 3 Newton plus kb. Kb we have calculated as 175.51. Hence on simplification we get EI as 296.23 mm. 296.23 mm. Our second step will be eccentricity at final stage, that is nothing but EF. EI is nothing but eccentricity at initial stage, EF is nothing but eccentricity at final stage. And here we will be using the values MT, that is total moment. It will be due to dead load plus live load. And this MT, in previous steps or previous video you can go through, we have calculated MT as 572.63 kilonewton meter. MT previously we have calculated in the previous steps. You can go through. Hence, eccentricity at final stage can be calculated by formula MT by P0 minus KT. Now keep in mind, during calculating eccentricity at initial stage, formula is mg divided by pi plus kb. Kb is bottom current distance, mg is moment at due to dead load, pi is initial pre-stressing force. During calculating eccentricity at the final stage, formula is EF is equal to mt total moment divided by P0. P0 is final pre-stressing force calculated by consideration of percentage of loss assumed, minus, here it is plus, here it is minus, KT. KT is nothing but top current distance, and KT we can calculate from the formula R square by YB. And here we have calculated KB as R square by YT. For bottom current distance, KB can be calculated as R square by YT. For top current distance, KB will be calculated as R square by YB. Substituting the values, radius of gyration we have calculated 275.47 square divided by YB we have calculated 397.23. Hence we get KT value as 191.03 mm. Hence we get KT value as 191.03 mm. Now substituting all this value in the equation of eccentricity at final stage, that is MT by P0 minus KT. MT we have calculated in previous steps 572.63 into 10 raised to 6. P0 we have calculated by consideration of 15% loss, that is 1061.41 kilonewton. We are converting here into Newton, minus KT 191.03. Hence eccentricity at final stage will be 348.94 mm. Hence eccentricity as final stage will be 348.94 mm. Now average eccentricity will be EI plus EF divided by 2. EI we have calculated eccentricity at initial stage as 296.23. EF we have calculated 348.94 divided by 2. Hence eccentricity at an average will be 322.34 mm. In this way we are supposed to calculate eccentricity at initial stage and eccentricity at final stage. During consideration of eccentricity at initial stage, you are supposed to consider mg dead load and bottom current distance kb. At final stage, you are supposed to consider total moment mt and top current distance kt. Now we have calculated average eccentricity as 322.34 mm. Now if this is our section, this is our I section, we are knowing that eccentricity we have calculated is 322.34 mm and total YB is 397.64 mm. Hence we can determine distance of this cable from soffit is 75.03 mm. How we have got this 75.03 mm? 397.64 mm minus 322.34 mm. Eccentricity we have calculated as 322.34 and eccentricity is measured from neutral axis, this is neutral axis, up to the CG of cable. Distance from bottom extreme fiber up to neutral axis YB is 397.64 mm. Subtraction of both will give you distance of the cable from bottom extreme fiber or soffit, that is nothing but 75.03 mm. Now as distance between E line, this is nothing but E line, which passes at an eccentricity E from the CG of cable from soffit is greater than 60 mm. Distance of E line from the soffit is greater than 60 mm. Hence, safe. Okay. Now, what is this 60 mm? This is nothing but permissible value of cover that is to be provided. This is nothing but permissible value of cover that is to be provided, and this value should be greater than or equal to the maximum diameter of cable that is to be provided. Here clear cover is 30 mm as we have seen in the previous lectures, or you can provide the cover of cable diameter, whichever is greater. Since we are providing 60 mm and cable is placed from the soffit at a distance of 75.03 mm, hence it is okay. In this way, we have completed our step number 4. Step number 4, eccentricity calculations. In this video, we have covered step 3 and step 4. Step 3 was check for area, and step 4 was eccentricity calculations. For any queries or doubts, you can comment in the comment box or go through the notes, and link for the notes is provided in the description box. Now in the upcoming video, that will be part 4, we will be seeing the remaining steps. Till then, thank you.